Hi guys, and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today we're taking a closer look at the newest model from Aquatrident called the Horizon. Now, I featured this brand a couple of times on my channel, and usually they will do either homages or watches inspired by other models, but they always try to make them as original as possible. But this is their completely original design, and we can say that they kind of went or turned things to 11. They really went out with making this as unusual as possible, and this model will come in two sizes, the 40mm and the 43mm. What surprised me is just how small these were. Now, if you follow my channel, you know I have a small 6.5-inch wrist and I prefer smaller watches. When it comes to divers, I never go over 40 and I actually prefer even smaller. But when I put this 40mm one on my wrist, it looked like a lady's watch. And when I put the 43mm one, it looked right. And the reason for that is the shape of the case and the lugs. Now, the lugs are a work of art because they look like they've been screwed onto the case. And the case itself, as you can see, looks like a bowl. So it kind of narrows as it comes down to your wrist, making it one of the shortest lug-to-lug watches when it comes to, relative to its size, other than the Seiko Tuna. So this is a 40mm watch and the lug-to-lug is just over 41. Whereas on the 43mm watch, the lug-to-lug is 44 something. So as you can see, that is the trick of making this wear much smaller than it is. Now, I still prefer the 40mm one because it makes my wrist look more masculine. So if you want your wrist, if you have a small wrist to look bigger, you wear a smaller watch. If you want it to look smaller, you wear a big watch. That's something that people get wrong. So if you have a small wrist with a smaller watch, it's gonna look more substantial. Now, when it comes to the design, as you can see, both colorways, and they have like a range of other colors that are not included in this video, they all come in both available sizes. Now, I prefer this one, even though I'm usually not a fan of coated watches, but the only reason for that is the legibility. As you can see, they really went crazy with the dial with these, and this is as much of a sandwich dial as you can get because all these cutouts actually feature loomed part underneath, and that makes it one of the craziest watches in the dark to view. However, what kind of surprised me is that it's actually pretty legible in the dark. Now, in the daylight, that's the reason why I prefer this one. This one is more legible. With the blacked out markers and hands, it actually creates quite a contrast, and it's surprisingly readable. This one, not so much. The silver hands kind of blend in with the silver dial and the silver bezel, so it kind of gets lost. But in the dark, not only are you able to read the time without any problems, but it actually went with some kind of a color coding. So the hour hand and the hour markers are one color, while the minute hand and the minute hashes are another, which kind of surprised me. Like, I thought it's just gonna be like huge amount of colors and just pointless loom, but it's actually quite functional. The one thing that I don't like, so at first when I saw the design and the renders of these watches, I was like, oh my god, what have they done? But once I handled them in person, especially this model, I was like, oh wow, that's actually pretty cool. It's legible, playful, original, and it's like a showstopper in the dark, but not for the sake of being a showstopper, but it actually makes some sense. But the only thing that I dislike is the open heart movement of the Seiko NH38 that they're using. I wish they made a full dial version without this open heart. It's just an unnecessary clutterness on an already very playful dial, so I think it would have been much better if it was without it. However, even with this, it's a $230 watch with a sapphire crystal and a domed sapphire crystal. Very unique looking case and looking lugs. The one thing that surprised me, that even though it appears as if it is, the bezel actually doesn't turn. So this is a fixed bezel, which is kind of a shame. I wish they included a rotating bezel, but what can you do? Now, each watch that you order comes with both of these straps. So it comes with a leather strap and an FKM rubber one. Now, on a diver, I always say that you need to put it on a cloth strap or rubber strap. Leather really doesn't make sense on a diver, but this is not a diver, as you can see by the bezel, even though it does come with a screw-in crown and 100 meters of water resistance. It's more like an adventurer's watch, and I have to admit, this leather strap that they supplied it with is one of the nicest that I've tried so far. It's very pliable, very soft, but at the same time it has some substance to it, So I really do like it, and you get the traditional, I say traditional because each model that I featured so far on the channel from this brand has had this like futuristic panerized styled buckle, which I really like because it is very large, it has like a lot of presence, but being with these cutouts, it's actually surprisingly light, so it's not too massive to actually feel it on the wrist. The whole watch is actually pretty balanced, and like I said, these lugs and this shape really make it possible to wear it no matter how small your wrist is. So unfortunately, I cannot tell you like if you're deciding between the two sizes. If you prefer smaller watches, go for the 40, no matter how small your wrist is. This is not going to be too big. However, if you like medium to maybe larger watches, no matter what your wrist size is, again, you can go with this. You will be able to pull it off because remember, this is just 44 millimeters lug to lug, but it will give you a lot of wrist presence. So it does that trick that the Seiko Tuna does, where even though it's like a massive watch on paper, it actually wears very small. So $230, like I said, Seiko NH38, 100 meters of water resistance, sapphire crystal, screw-in crown. So pretty standard for this price range, but I have to give them respect for going for an original design, and I mean completely original design. There isn't anything that I can recognize from an existing model, which is very cool. Now I wish they built on this model by offering a model without the open heart. The open heart, I know it depends on which phase of watch collecting you are in. When I was starting, I just wanted a watch where I can actually see how it works and everything. But I'm past that now that I understand how they work, and now I just want a cleaner design. I know it's kind of pointless to say a cleaner design on something that has as many cutouts as this one does, but like I said, this is not too intrusive, and on this model, because of the contrasting black surrounds and everything, even though it has a lot of cutouts, it's surprisingly legible and very easy to read, and only, like I said, ruined by this open heart complication. So Aquatrident, if you're listening, please offer this model because I do like it. Maybe offer one with the rotating bezel, and definitely lose the open heart complication. So anyways, that's it when it comes to this review. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.